Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I'm back, and as you see in front of me, today I'm going to do a little retro collection video because a couple of my subscribers have asked and friends of mine, and you can see I'm going to showcase my Sega Dreamcast collection. Now, I've been very vocal before in the past saying that I don't own a lot of my older consoles due to economical situations that I had to trade them in and in order to get new ones. So the ones that I do have in my possession still, I'm very grateful that I do. And so hopefully you'll see what collections and games I have, and you'll appreciate it for what it is. So we'll start here. As you see, I got on the TV showcasing what for me is probably the greatest shoot 'em up or top down shoot 'em up ever created. Of any that I've played, and I played almost all, to be honest. And that is Geiger Wings. Here, I have Geiger Wings 2 from Capcom. And it's an amazing game, 4 players. I had Geiger Wing 1. I had Geiger Wings 1, but I traded in because it was I felt wasn't as superior as 2, and it was in the traditional 2D sprites, and that is more of a 3D mixed with 2D, kind of in the same vein as Marvel vs. Capcom 2, like a lot of Naomi board games on Dreamcast supported. Next game we have is Sega Smash Packs Volume 1. Basically a Genesis collection with 12 games. And the only real reason I bought it was for this game here, which you guys will see is this one right here. Virtual Cop, because it's part 2, because it's the only place where it came out, and it's actually an arcade version of Virtual Cop 2. The next game I have, which I will so elegantly show you guys, is one of the most beautiful games on the system, and that is Echo the Dolphin, Defender of the Future. Absolutely gorgeous game with the best representation at the time of underwater with boss battles and puzzles. Echo the Dolphin. Next game I have is a game that felt to me like a Golden Axe in 3D. Not really great as far as the combat, but it was still fun if you gave it a chance, and that was Soul Fighters. Soul Fighters by Red Orbs. Let's see, you can see some shots there. Next game I'm going to show is a arena-based fighter and shooter, kind of like what we have now, and that is Spawn from Capcom, The Demon's Hand. This was an arcade game that came out, and it was ported to the Dreamcast. I have Spawn. The next game you're going to showcase is probably the best looking racer on this console, other than Metropolis Street Racer 1 and 2, and that's Test Drive Le Mans 24 Hours. Beautiful game by none other than, let's see, Info Games. Shows the back. Really beautiful game. And the reason why I decided to do this is because Sega Man, shout out to him, please go check out his channel, has inspired me to show my collection as well. Next game we have here is Dynamite Cop, the sequel to Dynamite Deca, which is in our territories in the Americas, Die Hard Arcade, which is an arcade game that also came out for Sega Saturn and the Sega Ages on PlayStation 2. Awesome game. True successor. It's a beat 'em up. My favorite. Still exclusive to the console, Virtual Fighter 3. One of the most underrated virtual fighters of all. Love this game. Very hard, Nice characters that were added and beautiful levels like that you fight on, like the Great Wall of China. Next game I'm just going to showcase here is Heavy Metal. Heavy Metal is based off that anime that was in the. It was almost in liquid animation, like the Tolkien, J.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, from that years ago with that girl and the dragon. It's based off that universe. Heavy Metal also plays like Spawn, an arena-based fighter and shooter. And really awesome game and rare, I believe. Next game is a classic, underrated. Maybe a lot of you might not even know. Railgun shooter in the same vein of House of the Dead. Confidential Mission is basically a railgun shooter in the James Bond universe. It's like a James Bond shooter. Awesome little game, like Ghost Squad. This is exclusive still to Dreamcast. Another area battle royale style gun and running gun that you can change from first person to third person is another exclusive called Outrigger. Nice, fun little game. Beautiful graphics. It had online support, as you see. And it was a Sega made property. Outrigger. Kind of feels like a fight club, or a game on the 360. I forgot the name of it. And for me, it's still my most best and favorite. One of the best baseball games I've ever played, especially once you learn how to play it. It is incredible and still holds very well. I was playing it earlier, and that's World Series 2K1 baseball with Pedro Martinez in the cover. You can get this game literally for about $2, and it's well worth it. A very instant classic. Power Stone from Capcom. Beautiful game. A lot of fun. Where you have to collect the jewels to get the powers while you're fighting in a 3D based arena. Really nice and a lot of fun. Next game here, my personal favorite, because I feel is the best Daytona version. Not maybe graphically, but the fact that and not maybe gameplay wise either, but it has almost all the levels from Daytona 1, 2, and a game called Super GT. Beautiful, and it still looks very beautiful. It's Daytona USA with online support. It was Dreamcastified, if that makes any sense. Probably one of the most underrated beat 'em ups and slash shooters, Zombies Revenge, which is basically a side story to the House of the Dead. So you do see House of the Dead characters appear in here as cameos. Awesome beat 'em up. Maybe I'll showcase in a gameplay through one day, just like Geico Wins too. Awesome game. Wish they made a sequel. Wish it came back if Sega actually was able to do that. The next game I have is the ever-loving Phantasy Star Online. When Phantasy Star Online took things to basically another height, new heights, and another level from Sonic Team, playing online in an RPG, giving you free roam battles. Staying true to the RPG universe and style. Next game is the classic Unreal Engine Tournament, or Unreal Tournament, one of Cliffy B's creations. This is a PC only game. It came to Dreamcast from Info Games. It was actually a lot of fun. Only problem is it's very hard to get used to when you play on the Dreamcast controller, because it only had one analog stick and you strafe with the buttons. Next game we have here is Sega Marine Fishing, which is like part 3 to Sega Bass Fishing, because they had Sega Bass Fishing 1 and Sega Bass Fishing 2. A lot of fun. You can actually play with the peripheral that looked like actual fishing rod, and it worked effectively. My case broke, so I have to get that replaced. But here we go. Next game showcasing is the arcade classic 18-wheeler, which came also to GameCube and I believe to the PlayStation 2, which gets me mad because the sequel, Route 66, only was available on PS2 and never came to any other platform, which I think it's kind of messed up on Sega's part. 18-wheeler. I love 18-wheeler. Love that game. Especially when you're trying to park. Next game I'm going to showcase is what I consider one of the best rhythm dance games ever made. Space Channel 5 with Ooh La La. Still with its, animation, translucent style cover. Holds up very well. I do have part 2, but it was only brought out, I think, in the America on the PS2. I think I still have it, though. Michael Jackson makes an appearance in the game as well. Probably one of the best Star Wars games before The Force Unleashes. It was in 2-player mode. It was Star Wars Episode 1 Jedi Power Battles. It's actually a hack and slash style with 2D and 3D elements. And you can play 2-player co-op. And it feels just like in the same vein as Force Awakens and Force Unleashed, rather. And it was a lot of fun and held up really well with good graphics. I have that. Next game here in the pile is one that you guys probably saw in the marketplace recently or soon, is King of Fighters Evolution, one of the best King of Fighters ever made. It was utilizing the Naomi hardware. So the backgrounds are in 3D, just like Marvel vs. Capcom 2. And then the animations, the characters were hand drawn with sprites. Another fighter, a very good one, Capcom versus SNK. Another classic, using the same format. The 3D backdrops with the 2D sprites. Terry Bogard in the front there with Ryu. Awesome gameplay, is amazing. Still holds up very well. And here we have another game is Death Crimson OX. I believe it's the sequel to a PC game, and also a possibility it was a sequel to another game called Mucken X that was available also. Death Crimson, awesome. It's a railgun shooter, very quirky and stylized with a lot of Japanese flavor and anime style in this universe of the Death Crimson. Awesome railgun shooter by Sammy Entertainment, by the way, which are now owned by Sega. There you go. The holy grail for many. Next game I have is Marvel vs. Capcom 2. The original one that took it to another level. Never gets old. Still have a pretty good condition, thank God. Just to show you guys, so there is games in there. Here's the disc. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 was a big title for Xbox that later came out to OG, but it was so rare that I think the game goes for like $300 now. I think J-Long has it. Then I have the sequel, which I felt was the best out of the two, so I didn't keep the first one because this one was better in every way with more characters. Ready to Rumble Boxing Round 2. The most fun boxing game I played in the Dreamcast era and in a long time, since Ring King, Buster Douglas Boxing, Rocky for the Sega Master System. This game is in 3D and it's amazing. It's loads of fun. Doesn't take itself seriously, and that's what made it the best. Then I have the ports of Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, which was ported from PS2 to the Dreamcast. Never really got to finish it. Played it halfway. Maybe this will be the last game they'll make as a remake, and I can rebuy it and play it with better graphics instead of the old pre-rendered background graphics. Another one I have that's on the Xbox Store, but it's the definitive version on the Xbox Live Store and PSN, I think, is Resident Evil Code Veronica. This is a brand new game made from scratch, an original sequel to, I think, Resident Evil 2. And this was the real reason why a lot of people got excited to buy Dreamcast. This is exclusive until Dreamcast died and faded away, and then you saw it land in other areas. But Code Veronica was amazing when I beat that. Beautiful 3D graphics as well. Next game, probably one of the best 3D Miss Pac-Man games. Still holds very well. It's Miss Pac-Man Maze Madness from Namco. Awesome game. It's a platformer with the old mixture of the old style Pac-Man, but in 3D and 3D world, you actually fight bosses and things of that nature. Then we have the big dog that people fell in love immediately with what it was doing technically with good graphics was Sonic Adventures 1. Original case, and so yeah, Sonic Adventures 1. Next up, my favorite tennis game of all time, the Serena Williams in the front cover, Sisters, and that's 2K, Sega Sports Tennis 2K2. Plays amazing, has amazing graphics, and I think the slip in the bottom is upside down. Yeah, there you go. Amazing. Next game is, I should sell it maybe because I don't really need it anymore even though I like to have physical. But I have the definitive version on Xbox Live, which is Hydro Thunder, which right now was owned by Midway, and right now it's a Microsoft IP property. So they can make a Hydro Thunder 2 and 3 or whatever they want to call it. Hydro Thunder, the original. Awesome on Dreamcast. Based off another arcade game, like Arctic Thunder, which I also have on an Xbox One OG. Rayman 2, I fell in love with Rayman 1, which I played the best version on the Saturn. So when this came over to Dreamcast, I had to pick it up, even though it was available, I believe, on PS2, because it had the best version and graphics as far as quality and loading, and I believe even frame rate. Another classic instance that's actually available with the new collection, which I own, is Street Fighter 3rd Strike. Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, which it's pretty rare. Could probably get big dollars for this and try to get rid of it. But I own it in the collection now, so I have 2 copies of it, essentially. But a Dreamcast. Excuse me. Then we have the successor and sequel to Power Stone. Power Stone 2. 4-player co-op. Madness in 60 frames as well. Awesome game by Capcom. Definitely deserves a 3rd part. One of my favorite and most unique games that I hold dear to my heart still to this day. And it makes me feel just the same way like I feel for Sunset Overdrive, which is Jet Grind Radio. The second one was Jet Set Future on OG. Beautiful artwork and awesome graphics. Associated, I also own the figure, so hopefully one day I'll be able to review it as well. Probably my favorite hack and slash from any anime in the Dreamcast era, and still holds dear to this day, which I wish they made a better game for it. Not the PS4 crap that came out not too long ago, and the PS2 crap that I didn't like too much either, is Sword of the Berserk, Guts Rage. Amazing game. A little bit hard to get into at first because the sword is really big. You got to learn how to use it within the environments because sometimes it's closed in. But Sword of Berserk is one of my favorite hack and slashes of that era. Next game up we have is DOA 2, Dead or Alive 2, which was also exclusive until the Dreamcast died out and it came to PlayStation 2. And still, this version, because it was running on Naomi, the original hardware, which was inside the Dreamcast, played the best and even looked the best to a certain extent. Next up is a game true and dear that I loved in the medieval times, Draconis, Cult of the Worms, or the Whelm, by Crave Games. It's almost like the game, or not almost, it's exactly like the game Enslaved, and with that feel that is on OG Xbox. Draconis, or Draconis. Awesome action adventure hack and slash in medieval time, or set in medieval time. Next game is from the Rival Schools series, and in that game is Project Justice, which I don't know if this game came out in any other console other than Dreamcast. You guys can correct me if I'm right in the bottom of the comments. But I think this is only available on Dreamcast. Project Justice. Next game up, which one of the most underrated games that a lot of people never even played, Cannon Spike. It's a top-down shooter that plays like a twin stick with the analogs, right? And you basically have all these Capcom characters from different properties, like Captain Commando, as you see here, Cammy, Street Fighter. You even have from Dark Savior, and it's in shooter form, and it's an amazing game in 3D that was made from the ground up by Capcom on the Naomi board in the arcade. It is an arcade game. The one that redefined it all and made everybody see and know that arcade games were no longer the best visual games available. That arcade quality finally plateaued and even exceeded at home with consoles. Soul Calibur, which this version was even better than the arcade version. Next game is Sega Bass Fishing. Amazing game, exclusive from Sega. A lot of fun. Also use the peripheral for the fishing rod. Lots of fun. One of the ones that started it all, part of the Sega All-Stars, which means it sold over 1 million copies. It was like their greatest hits, was Sega Sports NFL 2K1. I hold this one near and dear to my heart. Next to 2005 that I also own, an OG from Visual Concept, when football games were actually good. Next up, I have the big dog that's coming out soon, which I'm excited because I never got to play this, even though I own it and have it in my possession. This is the proof. It's Resident Evil 2 from Capcom, and I hope to dive in when the new remaster comes out. Then we have one of the most underrated games also that was very good and graphically was stunning. Alone in the Dark, The New Nightmare on Sega Dreamcast that I think later came out to PS2 as well. This is one of those games that's like a 2-disc situation, as you can see. Very awesome. Alone in the Dark. And then, last but not least, the King of Kings in the Dreamcast era that a lot of people did not support and go out and buy and claim to be actual fans. Shenmue, still in my possession in its original case. Shenmue, a 4-disc game. It even comes with the Shenmue Pass, which we have to put here. So guys, there you have it. That is my, here you go, the booklet and another disc underneath. There you have it. That's my collection of Sega Dreamcast games that I have. I thank you very much. I hope you liked the video. This is the second of my retro collection because I already did my OG Xbox collection. And I probably will do my Wii and Wii U next because I haven't done it. and maybe throw in DS because I don't have a lot of DS games either. For my next episode of my retro console collection. So, guys, thank you for watching. Like, comment, share, and subscribe if you like. Remember, it's gaming. Have a good time and enjoy it. Doesn't matter if it's new or old. Love the support, guys. See you soon.